An Ohio cheerleader who was charged with murder and vilified on social media was acquitted in a surprise verdict earlier this month. On this week's 48 Hours, the parents of Brooke Skylar Richardson, in their first televised interview, talk about the family's ordeal.
Is there a way to describe this past year?
The worst nightmare. Our lives have been completely turned upside down.
The lives of Kim and Scott Richardson changed forever on July 14, 2017. That's when their 18-year-old daughter admitted to investigators she secretly gave birth to a baby.
I had to have a baby, and it wasn't alive.
Skylar told police the baby was stillborn and that she buried the infant in the backyard. This is the deeply poignant moment inside a police interview room when Skylar's parents learned the details for the first time.
How could that happen? I've seen her every day. I look at her, I talk to her, I hug her.
This is what Skylar looked like at 3 months pregnant, again at 7.5 months, and then less than 2 days before giving birth.
I mean, we missed
Seriously,
everything.
we missed everything.
Her parents say they thought she simply looked healthy after years of struggling with a debilitating eating disorder.
12 years old, she wouldn't buy gum because it had 5 calories. I didn't even know gum had calories.
How much do you think her weight and eating ruled her life?
Oh, 95%. That is her life.
But Skylar would rarely talk about it.
She's very guarded.
Keep a lot of secrets?
Yes.
But it turned out there was one secret Skylar couldn't keep. After police got a tip from her doctor, Skylar was charged with killing her baby. The motive? Warren County prosecuting attorney David Fornshell said motherhood didn't fit into her life.
Skylar and her family were pretty obsessed with external appearances.
Kim and Scott Richardson began the fight of their lives to save their daughter from life in prison.
There's no way she would ever hurt anyone.
I would stake my life on it.
Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty joins me now. Erin, you got unusual access to the family before and during the trial. So what did you learn that was not previously reported?
Well, one thing was that the prosecution may not have been so sure about this case. They clearly had some concerns. So earlier this summer, they made an offer to Skylar, and they said that if she would plead to manslaughter, they would take the aggravated murder off the table. But as her parents told me, Skylar was the one who made the decision, and she said to them, I'm not going to plead to something I didn't do. Now, I have to be honest, early on, because this is conservative Ohio, I worried for this family. I mean, she was facing life in prison, but she's the one who made the decision.
So there was a real question about whether she could get a fair trial with all of the press surrounding this.
I've never seen anything like this, I have to be honest. And it really makes you understand the part that social media can play. So the prosecuting attorney in this case did something, again, I have not seen and I do not think was the right thing to do in this sense. He made inflammatory statements pre-trial that turned out to be totally wrong. And yet that was picked up by local press and then amplified by social media. And he never corrected the record publicly. So there were terrible headlines that were printed that were completely wrong based on what he had done pre-trial. The family received death threats. It really was one of the worst cases of negative pre-trial publicity that was also inaccurate that I've ever seen.
Before you go, I want to ask, I think a lot of people are wondering, how could parents miss the fact that their daughter was pregnant?
Well, I think, and I hear this a lot, but anyone who's had a child with an eating disorder understand, because her weight would fluctuate. And during her entire pregnancy, she only put on 15 pounds. They had seen this before. They thought she looked healthy. As you saw in that picture, at 7.5 months, they went on a family vacation. She's wearing a two-piece. She just looks healthy. And they didn't want to talk about weight. But they sincerely miss it. You could tell it. When they first find out in that police interview, it's clear these parents had no idea.
They were shocked to hear that their daughter had been pregnant. Thank you so much, Erin.
Thanks, Laura.
And you can see Erin's report, The Case Against Brooke Skylar Richardson, Saturday night at 10, 9 Central only on CBS.